control. All right, so work problems. So what these are is they involve situations like two people working together to paint a house. How long will it take them to paint a similar house or paired up together? It's those questions. You always see that one on the SAT. There's always one or two that you always just guess and move on. This would be an easy way to get it there. Many of these problems are not terribly realistic since they don't really work out, but it's the technique that we're learning, not the applicability, so it's not going to be exactly correct. The method situation for work problems is not an obvious one, so don't feel bad if you're totally lost at the beginning. There is a trick to doing these. I'll show you kind of what we're looking at. So number one, I'm going to do it the long way and kind of work on it, and we'll go from there. And then I'll show you the trick how to do these. So number one, suppose one painter can paint an entire house in 12 hours. And the second painter can take 8 hours. So the painter one, he takes 12 hours. Come on, man. So he's 12 hours, or she. The second painter takes 8 hours. How long will it take for the two painters to paint the house together? So what we're going to look at here, the long way would be after 1 hour. I'll do it 10 minutes later. Painter one paints 1/12 of the house. As you think about it, you got a whole house. It takes 12 hours to paint it. After 1 hour, assuming everything's consistent, that painter's painted 1/12 of the house. Does that make sense? So if I'm looking at this, 1/12 as a decimal, so you know, 1/12 is about 0.83 or 0.083. Sorry, not 0.83, 0.083. Painter two is painted 1/8, so that's 0.125. So if I add that together, that's about 0.208 of the house. I'm using decimals just to see it, so I'm not doing a long way with fractions, but it's okay. Now, if I repeat the process, after 2 hours, this painter has painted 2/12 of the house, so 2/12 would be 1/6, which is 0.167. 2/8, which is 0.25. So 0.4167, so on and so forth. So if I keep going down, after 3 hours, that's 3/12, so 0.25, that's 3/8, which is 0.375. I know I'm going a little quick right here. So that's 0.625 of the house. Continue down 4 hours, so 4 out of 12, which is 0.33. 4 out of 8, which is 0.5, so 0.83. After 5 hours, that's what, 5 out of 12? I don't know what that is off the top of my head. 0.4, that should. 1/6. 5 out of 8 is 0.625. And right here, I'm at 1.042. All right, let's think about this. I'll give you a second to write that down. Which one?
The last one.
The green row is bad. I can rewrite the green row. Let's pick a different color besides green. Let's do doo-doo brown. So 5, that's going to be 5/12. Oh man, I erased part of that. Oh well. So 5/12 was 0.417. 5/8 is 0.625, so that gives me 1.042. So once I get past 1, that's over 100% of the house is painted, right? So I know logically, thinking through this problem, it's got to be between 4 and 5 hours. Somewhere between 4 and 5 hours. I don't know exactly when between 4 and 5 hours. I just know doing it this way that it's somewhere between 4 and 5 hours. So in digital world, when a lot of stuff is multiple choice, one of the answers will be between 4 and 5 hours, right? And you can kind of go that route if I'm showing you this way. Now, the kind of trick, the easier way to do this is algebraically. This is kind of the formula here. So time together over time alone. So it's always together over individual plus together over individual is equal to 1. So what I'm looking for here, time together, is what I want to find. That's going to be my x. It's what I don't know. Painter number 1. How long did it take painter number 1 to paint the house? 12 hours. Good. Painter number 2. It was 8 hours. Good. And the question's saying how many hours is it going to take them to paint, right? Or how long? So hours is amount of time. So my answer is going to be in hours. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this. So if I look here, together is my x over individual, so 12. And it's always going to equal 1 complete job. So that's the way I'm going to look at it. Together over individual plus together over individual. So in this case, it's time alone for number 1 and number 2. And it's always going to be equal to 1. Now I'm back to what we did. One of these problems is what we did all before Thanksgiving break, right? So 8 and 24. What is my least common denominator here between 8 and 24? Yeah, 8 and 12. So it would be 24. Yeah, I got to get back on the boat. So to get 24, I need to multiply this one by 2, this one by 3. So I have 2x over 24 plus 3x over 24 is equal to this one. You need a common denominator. That is where everybody messes up, is forgetting to multiply the 1 by the 24. That right there is where everybody messes up. Okay? So what I have here is 2x over 24 plus 3x over 24 is equal to 24 over 24. So if I zoom in over here, I got 5x over 24 is equal to 24 over 24. Remember, once you get a common denominator, you can drop the denominator and just solve. So divide by 5, so x equals 24 over 5. And if you take that, divide it out, 24 over 5 is 4.8 hours. Okay, and I want to show you a couple things about this kind of answer before you move on. So, first of all, first thing I want you to see is my answer between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So is that a good answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure your answer makes sense. If you get something like 95 hours, no. Or if you get something like 1/5 hour, you can't paint a whole house in 20 minutes. So make sure your answer is semi-logical. They're not going to be exact, obviously. The other thing I don't want you to do, don't tell me this is 4 hours and 80 minutes. Okay? Can we have 80 minutes in an hour? No, so that is not 4 hours and 80 minutes. Please don't do that. That's big mistakes that I see. All right, let's look at a couple more, but they all go the same path. So Miss Manvar can create 30 assignments in 1 hour. Miss King can create 40 assignments in 1 hour. If they work together, how long will it take them to grade 240 assignments? All right, so let's look at this. So let's look at what we know. Time together is what we're trying to find. So I'm going to keep that as my X. All right. Miss Manvar can do what? In 1 hour, because I'm going to talk about time. How many can Miss Manvar do in 1 hour? 30. So if I think about this, how many hours is it going to take her to grade? So I got 240. I divide that by 30. It's going to take her 8 hours to grade it. The question I'm looking for is how long? Miss King, same concept. King has a G on it. Can do 40 assignments in 1 hour. So 240 assignments. How long is it going to take? 240 divided by 40. That's 6 hours. And now we're good to go. So the time together is how long is it going to take them to grade 240 assignments? So by herself, once again, Miss Manvar, it's going to take 8 hours because 30 divided by 240, 240 divided by 30, whatever, is 8 hours. Miss King's going to take her 6 hours to grade everything. So if we look at this, together over individual plus together over individual is going to equal one complete job. And now I want to solve it. So my least common denominator here, 8 and 6. So 8, 16, no, 24, yep. So same thing. So 3, 4, 24. So 3x plus 4x is going to equal 24, and then solve it. So 24 over 7. Or 3.43 hours. So 24 over 7 hours, which is 3.43 hours as a decimal. Cool. That's real. Boom, 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 boom. Straightforward, which is nice. All right, let's look at the last two. Then I'll turn you loose. All right, so Jason can clean a large tank at an aquarium in about 6 hours. When Lucy and Jason work together, they can clean the tank in about 3.5 hours. How long will it take Lucy to clean the tank if she works by herself? Okay. So what I know here is time together. And then I have my two people. I got Jason and I have Lacey, which I call Lucy every single time. All right, so time together. Well, first thing I want to know is about how long will it take Lacey to clean the tank. So Lacey is my X. Together is 3.5 hours. And Jason can clean it in 6 hours by himself. That's an H. So a little bit different strategy here. So I have together, so 3.5 over Jason, which is 6. Together over Lacey, which is X, is going to always equal one complete job. So I have 3.5 over 6 plus 3.5 over X is equal to 1. So now if I'm looking at this, my least common denominator, I have a 6 and I have an X and I have a 1. So it's just going to be 6X. So doing a little work here, this one has a 6, this one needs an X. This one has an X, this one needs a 6. This one's got a 1, so this needs everything. So what I have here is 3.5x plus 3.5 times 6, which is 21, is equal to 6x. So once you got a common denominator all the way across the board, you can drop the denominators and just solve the numerators. So let's get our x's together. So let's subtract 3.5 x. So I got 21 is equal to 2.5x. Divide by 2.5. So x is equal to 21 divided by 2.5, which is 8.4 hours. If you want a fraction, math, enter 42 over 5 hours. And you're good to go. All right, I'm gonna leave this up here. Take a couple minutes, try example 4, see what you get. They're all kind of the same concept. We'll go with that. So take a couple seconds to try that. Everybody's in here is supposed to be. Cool. All right. So once again, Julian can mulch a garden in 20 minutes. So 20 minutes. Together, they can mulch that same garden in 11 minutes because it's a small garden. How long will it take Remy? I don't know. So there's your x. So it's easy just to take your information and list it out. So it's together over individual plus together over individual is equal to 1 complete job. So your setup should be 11 over 20 plus 11 over 20 is equal to 1. Now let's get our least common denominator here. So 20 times x times 1 is 20x. So this one needs the x, this one needs the 20, this one needs the 20x. So what I got here is 11x plus 220 is equal to 20x. And now I have a linear equation because the denominators are all 20x, so I can drop that and let's solve. So minus 11x from both sides. So 220 equals 9x. So x is equal to 220 over 9 minutes. If I actually divide that out, 220 divided by 9, you get roughly 24.4 minutes as well. So it would take Remy about 24 to 25 minutes to mulch that garden by Remy's self. Cool. All right, while we're here, does anybody have any questions? If I add 3 people to this situation, what would you do? You just add another fraction, right? That's all it is. So take some time on E-class. I got a practice sheet. Y'all in here have a practice sheet. It's like 6 problems. It's not much. I went ahead and posted the answer key so you can check your work. If you got any questions, please email me. I will get back to grading today and tomorrow and the next day to get everybody's caught up that did it after 2 o'clock on Thanksgiving.